All right, today we are at doing an interview this morning with Jeanette Martin. She has a PhD in public health and statistics.
Yes, I do.
And she is the corporate wellness plan manager for Bank United here in South Florida. So I put together a couple of questions because I wanted you to have a better understanding for what other opportunities are out there as health educators as you're out in the field. So we have a couple of questions. We're just going to have a conversation and talk about what she does as the corporate health manager here at Bank United and what her background is. So let's get started. What is your current position?
Well, as you explained, my current position here is I am the Employee Wellness Program Manager here at Bank United. And I am responsible for all of employee wellness programming, from program design to implementation, maintenance, and anything else that falls under that umbrella.
And when I first got here, unfortunately I didn't bring my camera with me, but we walked through the cafe that you helped establish a year and a half ago, did you say?
Yes, we have a corporate dining facility here, and a big piece of that was for recruiting purposes, but also as an opportunity for me as a corporate wellness manager to take advantage of opportunities that offers in terms of health education and making better, health decisions as far as diet, nutrition, portion size, reading labels. So often we'll have health education seminars in the facility that give us both the opportunity to showcase not just the facility but also to tie in wellness as well.
They also have a very nice gym. Do you want to talk a little bit about the gym?
Yeah, the fitness center is sort of my baby. Again, from a recruiting standpoint, having a corporate fitness center adds value to the employee because they spend most of their day here. And as many of you know who will be seeking careers in corporate wellness, the really important thing in wellness is creating balance and also stress relief. So a big piece of that was we wanted to offer an opportunity for people to have a place where they could exercise, not just from a wellness perspective, but just to, for general improvement of overall quality of life. And we weren't going to do just a small corporate exercise room. I have a very strong background in commercial fitness as well, so with that background we were able to develop a 6,000 square foot fitness facility that has all state-of-the-art equipment, offers a variety of classes, educational and fitness classes that are all complementary to the bank employees. So that has added tremendous value to the wellness program, and we are co-branding a lot of things together and working together to promote different wellness initiatives in the fitness facility.
Right.
So.
And after we left the gym, she actually showed me another room that was just like a health education room. And it has a lot of live streaming. So you want to tell a little bit about what you do for your lunch?
Yeah, a big factor in being able to bring wellness across the board to all of our employees, not just here in Miami, but in New York and in other parts of the country, is the ability to live stream different lunch and learn seminars. And these are opportunities for my employees to earn what we call wellness points. And once they earn 200 wellness points at the end of the year, we give them a $600 discount on their health insurance the following year. So people are always looking for opportunities, when can I take the next seminar? So we've had seminars ranging from meditation and heart health, to ergonomics, to cooking demonstrations, to food label reading demonstrations, and we live stream them so that our employees that are located in other locations can dial in or via WebEx view the presentation from a remote location and earn the points as well. But again, having the support and management to offer these is a huge piece of it, and also having the facilities. So we're very fortunate in that this company really supports employee wellness, and that they've given us the dining facility, the fitness center. We have a full-time staff person, me, that manages the program, and now we have a beautiful education room to help offer that to the rest of the organization as well. So it's worked out really well.
So great. So can you share with us what your employment history is and what your education path was?
Yes. My education path to start was, again, as we discussed earlier, I started out as a health psychology major, and after realizing that perhaps a career in substance abuse was not necessarily for me, and I embraced fitness at that time more than I did really understood what wellness meant, I chose to pursue a graduate degree in health promotion, still not really knowing what that was going to get me. I said, I'm going to take my chances. I will say that for anyone who's on the fence about taking the CHES exam, I would say take it anyway, because it's a big piece of just giving you that extra credential. And it does really help you understand the whole corporate wellness mentality and exposes you to information that you might not, normally be exposed to if you weren't going to take that exam. So I think it's just a good thing to have. And once I finished health promotion, I explored medical school, and I thought that really wasn't going to be the route for me, and was much more passionate about working with other people in a more dynamic environment that allowed me some creative freedom and flexibility, but also still kept me within a realm that I could relate to, and tied the fitness and the wellness and all of that, education and academia, all in sort of under one umbrella. And I took my chances, and I thought, well, I'll apply for a PhD program, and if I get in, then it was meant to be. So that's when I applied, and I was accepted, and I finished my PhD down here at Nova in public health. And the reason I chose public health and statistics is because a lot of what's driven in terms of wellness, period, from a claims perspective, if you're an insurance company and an employer, to a wellness perspective, is driven by that data. So we look at information that has to tell us a story, and someone has to be able to translate, what do these numbers mean? What does that mean? Does it mean we're healthy? Does it mean we're sick? What does it mean? And so when you have the ability to understand what those numbers mean, it can then transition into your corporate wellness environment, where then you can design programs based on that data to reduce how much a company is spending on healthcare, and ultimately making the population healthier, spending less on healthcare costs. So the career path in education really helped me, sort of fall into the corporate wellness path that I'm now in. So that's sort of the education piece. The employment piece is, again, getting very, very fortunate to have fallen into a corporate wellness position prior to coming to BankUnited. Spent a lot of time working with larger populations of employees in different demographic. So again, if you have a county government, for example, which is my previous employer, you're dealing with employees that are bus drivers, sanitation drivers, police officers, corrections officers, and also your county administrators, so your county attorney's offices. So look at the scale and the difference in demographic just within one employer, okay? So designing programs and interventions to address all of their diverse needs was very challenging. But again, it's an ongoing process, and as long as someone is working, there's a need for them to be well, there's a need for them to take care of their health, and also understand their health care. So, transitioning into a corporate wellness environment could mean working for a large government entity, or working for a private company like I do now, which is a bank. And again, from industry to industry, it could have a very different approach on how they view wellness. So in this environment, it's a very conservative financial environment. So their biggest concern is, how do we save money on costs, right? And that's why the data comes in handy, and that's why the understanding of the culture and the demographic that you're working with is very, very important piece.
So knowing your audience is very important.
It is key. It is key. And as I said to you earlier, the reason they chose to employ me full time here, I am a bank employee, but I'm not a banker, okay, is just for that reason. So I'm in the trenches, so I see what they're exposed to daily. I understand their stress. I see them in the cafe. I see them in meetings. I see them, in the fitness center. So I understand the population from the inside. I'm not coming from the outside. So that's a really big piece of having an on-site wellness director versus someone who's an independent contractor or a consultant who may come in for a moment and say, this is what your employees look like in a snapshot based on some information, but do they really have a working knowledge of the day-to-day stressors and the things and the demands that are placed on them? It's a very different approach. So.
It's that relationship building piece.
It is, and that's critical to making it successful, because in order to get them to participate in the wellness program, they have to believe you, they have to trust you, and you can't build the trust without seeing them daily and interacting with them daily, whether it's on the phone, whether it's via email, Skype, or in person. They know me. Yeah. So if I'm bringing them information, they're very likely to receive it well because they know who I am. I'm not a stranger. Right. So it's very important to develop that relationship for sure.
The other thing I thought was interesting that we were talking about is you said initially when you were offered the position is only part-time.
Yes. And I think that people need to be prepared for that in wellness, especially in a corporate environment. When I first started here, it was a part-time position, and I think the mentality here, because it's a very conservative environment, and that's not the case across the board, it's just that it was here. They'd never had a wellness program, so it's not like I was picking up where another wellness person had left off. I was starting from scratch. So I think they were apprehensive and they wanted to be very cautious. And in doing so, they said, let's bring you in part-time and let's see if we can develop something. And then within the first 6 months, they realized that people really wanted the information and it needed more management and maintenance for it to grow and develop and really, suit its purpose. The reason I'm here is to make a difference. And in order to make a difference, I have to be here to do that.
Right.
So that was a very easy decision for them to make. So.
Right. So we talked a little bit about this. What is a typical day like for you? What are your current responsibilities?
A typical day is not typical, which is good because I like that, right? But a typical day could be anything from going out into the community and developing vendor relationships. What I mean by that is I rely on subject matter experts to come to me and my employees to talk about sports injuries or the importance of dental hygiene or ergonomics or meditation or heart health. So in order for me to have access to these experts, I have to get in the field and develop the relationship. So I would strongly recommend, if you're not already doing this, that you join any wellness committee that you can. WellCOA is a great way to start. If you're not a member of WellCOA, it gives you some great exposure and at least gives you some ideas on different types of webinars or even live committees that you could be a part of in your community that would help develop those relationships. And once you develop a great network of relationships, you move on to the next piece of my day, which is then organizing education. I have employees all over the country, so I build my wellness calendar in quarters. So my day is spent organizing, planning, bringing the right vendors in, syncing up with my wellness ambassadors in different locations. And I do identify wellness ambassadors who want to be they want to champion and spearhead the effort in their areas. So I reach out to them, we coordinate different educational events, biometric screenings, blood drives, things like that, and we make it happen. So it's a day-to-day making sure everything is organized, calendars are coordinated, timelines are met, and then of course there's the administrative piece that I also am responsible for, which is paying vendors and developing things like our newsletter, which is quite fabulous.
Yes.
And in our newsletter we talk about very common sense, things that may apply to the average employee here at BankUnited. A lot of it is based on the CDC's health observances calendar, which I'm sure you're familiar with, but we try to pull some information and say, okay, this is nutrition month or it's heart health month.
Right.
Let's kind of target some things that are going on. The CDC obviously is a credible source, and so is World Health Organization. So we like to kind of bring in credible sources to put together some of our information. And then, again, just interacting with employees. You learn that in this role, that it's more than just wellness. You sort of become a counselor. You become someone that they talk to, because a big piece of your wellness is being able to do that and open up and feeling comfortable that I am that resource that they come to. So that's sort of the day, not all of it, but in a nutshell.
The picture. Now, what are your favorite aspects of your job, and what are some of your more challenging aspects?
The favorite aspect of the job is I have complete creative freedom. So I basically determine how this program is driven. And I have to look for ways to enhance it. And that keeps me sharp, and it keeps me looking out there for what's going on in wellness now. What's the newest thing? What's the latest fad? What am I hearing? In the media is saturated with information that we often learn is not credible.
Correct.
So my job is to kind of pull that information away and say, here's the information that you should be looking at. So I make sure I update our wellness webpage with credible information. If they're looking for journals, I refer them to medical journals on research if they have questions about vaccinations and things like that. So, that the best part of the job is that you get to interact with people that are intuitive and interested in what you have to say. So it's a really good feeling when they are thanking you for, hey, I stopped using sodium in my diet and I feel a lot better, or I've gotten off my diabetes medication because you gave me some guidance about how to exercise and make some nutritional changes. And so those are the things that make your day amazing. The challenge is that you're always going to be dealing with the next health crisis. For every 10 people that are on board with wellness, you may have 2 that are not, and those could be your 2 biggest challenges, because they could result in a catastrophic event like a heart attack or a stroke, which affects my data and my numbers. And if those people made small changes, they could perhaps then cross over and maybe not get off medication, but certainly manage their condition more effectively by just, using little pieces of information that we're providing them. So that's the challenge. And also I think you'll find if you do decide you're going to get into corporate wellness is management has to buy in. They can't just say that they are buying in. You have to have full support from management. And I will tell you that this management, from the CEO to the CFO, who comes to my classes, by the way, here in the facility, our corporate counsel, our director of human resources, they all are very involved. They don't just say they support it, they're actually at the events. They come to the education, they read the newsletters. So it's that piece of it is probably it will be the biggest challenge. It's not necessarily my biggest challenge, but convincing people to buy into this is going to be anyone's biggest challenge, I think. So.
Oh, that's great. And then the last question that I have for you is, what recommendations do you have for health education specialists or the students in this class that are looking for employment in corporate health?
I think the biggest piece of information or advice I can give is you have to do your research. The more conferences that you attend, whether it's through WellCOA or another wellness organization, that's going to give you a really good understanding of what's available in your area, because depending on your demographic, there may not be a lot of wellness jobs. If you're out in the Midwest, where their primary source of industry might be farming, they might not have a lot of large corporate wellness opportunities available. But in Washington, D.C., which is where I'm from, there are. You have to just know where to look. Internships, externships, and research are big keys in getting your foot in the door. And looking at a list of the large corporations in your area and finding that human resources person or that risk manager that's going to be responsible for any wellness initiative.
Right.
That's a great way to start if you wanted to get your foot in the door. The benefit to a corporate wellness position is that there is structure. So if you like it like I do, you have that, you know, hey, every 2 weeks you're going to get that paycheck and you've got a banker's hours and it's a known quantity. And I like that because it gives me freedom to do things on the outside, like teach, you know, graduate level courses. I teach at my gym, so I have a nice balance. For those of you who that may prefer a consulting piece, you can certainly make the same effort, go about it the same way, you know, just from a different perspective. So you're your own business and you go into a company and say that you offer all of these wellness opportunities, you develop a program, and then you move on to the next corporate, you know, site. So there are a couple of different ways that you could go about it, but definitely get involved in any networking, any wellness committees. That's the best way. It's definitely who you know, for sure.
Right, great. Well, I think that's it. We didn't want to make this too long, but wanted to make sure that you had a good idea of what corporate wellness might entail. So thank you so much for your time today.
My pleasure.
I appreciated your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
And,
Good luck, everybody.
Yeah, have a great semester.